Could Anthony Richardson take over the league here in 2024? A former NFL quarterback believes that is possible. We're going to talk about that in today's episode, so let's go. All right, we are back. What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Your guys, Cody and Derek, back with another one, guys. Welcome back, Derek. It's been great. Honestly, man, it feels like it's been forever. Even though we've had videos that have gone out and we've, been having them go through Saturday. For those of you who didn't know, we have not recorded an episode together since last week. So it's been a while. So it feels good to get back talking about the Colts. And obviously with it being kind of that dead period in the offseason and about a month to go until training camp, we're still kind of in that dead period. So we got stuff to talk about still though, which is good. So we're going to talk about this. I mentioned it already. A former NFL quarterback believes that Anthony Richardson is an under the radar type of player, and he could potentially take over the league in 2024. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we do that, just want to let you guys know this episode is presented by Prize Picks. So be sure to go head over to prizepicks.com today, use their mobile app, and when you sign up, use the code BTJ for a $100 deposit match. All right, Derek, I thought I'll just start here by reading the tweet from former NFL quarterback, former Indianapolis Colts quarterback, Dan Orlovski. He said, and I quote, "Under-the-radar player who could throw the whole league off if he takes the leap, Anthony Richardson." I mean, former NFL quarterback, so you would think he knows what he's talking about. I know sometimes he's a media personality. Sometimes they just say stuff for reactions, but I know, Derek, this has not been an unpopular opinion by not just Dan Orlovski, but by other players as well, other former players and other analysts, that Anthony Richardson could honestly, if he does stay healthy, he could take a big leap here in 2024. Now, of course, you have all the people that say, well, he barely played at all, so what kind of leap could he take? And a lot of people believe that Anthony Richardson could potentially become one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL if he stays healthy this year. So what's kind of your take on what Orlovski had to say in his tweet, and what is kind of your take on Anthony Richardson and kind of that whole idea of potentially him taking over the league in 2024?
Well, I mean, you have to take into account he was talking about an under-the-radar type player, and of course, that is definitely the truth, albeit Anthony Richardson was the 4th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft, so clearly not that far away, and because of where he was drafted, there was a lot of eyes on him. But a lot of people are basically throwing Anthony Richardson back into the dog pound right now because, again, he did not play the majority of last year, and a lot of people already had the assumption that he was an extremely raw player and wasn't actually, fully there in that sort of aspect yet. So it's kind of like it's the usual casual argument that, oh, Anthony Richardson had these stats and the team was this record and this and that, when they were talking about we're talking about 4 games. We're talking about 4 games, and people don't want to look at the actual film and don't want to actually look and see how electric the Colts offense was, even in just Anthony Richardson's first 4 starts as an NFL player. They just don't want to look into that and be optimistic. They're just more thinking of, oh, he had this stats, he didn't play this much, he's down here. Well, again, Orlovski is pointing it out. If he takes that leap, aka if he stays healthy, and aka if he does even better than what he did in the start of last year, then 100% Anthony Richardson can throw the whole trajectory of the AFC completely off. Because if Anthony Richardson is playing at the level of a CJ Stroud was last year, or what we expect CJ Stroud to look like this year. So if he's looking like potentially the best quarterback in the AFC South and could potentially lead the Colts to the AFC South title, then that throws a lot of things off with especially the AFC in regards to how a lot of people are projecting the AFC to look. Because let's admit it, a lot of people are premeditating the AFC South, like at least from at least from the playoff division winners. At least we know that for a fact. So if the Colts come out and do something crazy and Anthony Richardson is the proprietor reason for that, then you have to start wondering, like, is he playing like a top 10 quarterback? Is he playing like this because of certain other things? But better yet, if he's playing like that now at the age of 22, like, what does that tell you for Anthony Richardson going into years beyond? So this is not just a one and done type thing. This is one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL. And if he's playing like a top 10 level quarterback at that age, and he's doing and he stays healthy and he's doing what everyone expects him, at least from our inner circle, thinks he can be, then there's no limit to what Anthony Richardson could become. I mean, this could be a kid that could be a top 5 quarterback within the next 2 years if he plays at the level we expect him to be at.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Summer's here, so that means NBA, football, all those types of stuff. It's not here right now. So we got the MLB and the WNBA to pass the time. I haven't really gotten a whole lot into the WNBA as of recently, but have had a couple things here. A lot of Asia Wilson props here that are really good that I'm very interested in making. So I would definitely keep an eye out for any of those. Shohei Ohtani for MLB props. Highly suggest you guys hit that over when it comes to Ohtani, when it comes to total bases. Anytime you can get a chance to get Ohtani, especially even with just a 1.5 or 2 total bases, definitely want to try and take advantage of those. Because all it takes is one good hit from Shohei Ohtani to get you above that number. So definitely would encourage you guys do that. Be sure to download the app today and use code BTJ for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code BTJ for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, it's sponsored by Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, and obviously Anthony Richardson, he's still raw, right? We talked about it. That was like the big narrative last year was Anthony Richardson's raw. He needs to play. He needs to grow. And he really didn't. Like, he played a little bit, but he didn't play enough. So I guess for me, it's like, I'm not ready to go there and say that Anthony Richardson is going to just be a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, because we just haven't seen him play. I mean, he's going to have some issues, right? I don't think we talk about that enough. Like, he's going to have, because he's essentially a rookie, right? Again, he's going to have those bumps in the road, right? It's not like, he was raw, right? He was raw and he's still raw. Yes, he does have a year now of the playbook. That definitely is going to help him out. But when it comes to being on the field and recognizing those things in real time when, you don't have a red jersey on, that's different, right? That's totally different when the pads come on versus when the pads are off. And so I just am very intrigued to see, not that I'm disagreeing with Dan Orlovski, because I do think that's possible, but I think for me, it's like, I just want to know that he can play, at a competent quarterback level, not playmaking, because we know he can make plays, but like as a quarterback, I want to know that he can identify things like he needs to identify. I want to know that he can do some of that stuff that we saw CJ Stroud doing last year, that we've seen young quarterbacks grow into, right? Their knowledge of the game and, that kind of stuff, right? I want to see him develop as purely a passer in a lot of different ways. Because let's be honest, he's still as raw as a passer, no question about it. I mean, he's got all the ability in the world. That's not the issue. It's just he's got to, figure it out from a pass perspective, right? When you have to sit in the pocket and when you have to stand and deliver, can Anthony Richardson do that? We don't know yet because we haven't seen that. We've seen glimpses that he can make, do some of that stuff. But again, the limited sample size, it's hard to say, well, with the fact that Anthony Richardson can do that because we just don't know at this point. Right. But first and foremost, we've said it before, we'll say it again. He's got to get healthy and stay healthy. He's healthy now. He's got to stay that way. Right. So that means sometimes he's got to fall down when he doesn't want to. Right. Sometimes he can't let up. He's got to go all the way to the end zone and not allow himself to take an unnecessary hit in the end zone and then get concussed and be out the rest of the game. Right. Like he's got to just be smarter in those ways. Right. That, you've seen different quarterbacks and even different players, like Tyler Lockett, Derek. Think about Tyler Lockett. He falls down all the times and he's kind of like infamous for that. But the dude's been playing for years and been productive because he understands that he needs to take care of himself if he wants a long career. Yep. And so while, yes, it's different from a receiver to a quarterback, like Anthony Richardson needs to have that same mindset, right? Like I need to make sure that if I want to be the franchise guy, I got to be available for this team, right? So that's kind of my biggest thing for Anthony Richardson. But I think if all that happens and he grows and shows signs from even his rookie season, I mean, I think there's definitely an opportunity here for him to start raising some eyebrows this year and saying, okay, this kid's got something special to him, right? He's still developing as a passer, but he's going to get there, right? He's making those positive signs towards being that way. Right now, we don't know. He showed some things, but it was so limited. It's like, it's hard to say one way or another definitively that Anthony Richardson can do this because we just don't know yet, right? The Colts obviously believe in him 100%. Shane Steichen believes in him. Right. And so for me, that gives me confidence because Shane Steichen's had a lot of success with quarterbacks, even quarterbacks that, use their legs in situations. He's had that success. He knows how to develop guys to how they need to get. But again, it all comes down to AR and can he do it when it matters? And that's what we have to find out. And so that starts with him staying healthy and then just kind of seeing what this kid's made of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right. It all comes down to being healthy. I have no issue being on the pedestal saying that once Anthony Richardson figures it out, like figures out his rhythm, figures out his timing, figures out like his coexistence in the NFL, I have no problem sitting here saying that I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback at some point. I have no problem saying it right here. But you're right. At the end of the day, the dude's got to stay healthy. So he's got to stay healthy in order for my point to actually matter. So I'm just praying to God that Anthony Richardson plays 15 plus games next year. And we can kind of put this like injury prone thing to rest. And, I can actually enjoy my quarterback in a Colts uniform for once.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've felt like, okay, we're going to have a quarterback that's going to go out there, play at a high level, and be available, right? We haven't had all those things. It's either one or the other, right? We haven't had all those things since, 2018, right? I mean, at this point, it's been that long. So that's kind of a bummer, but regardless, guys, let us know what you think about Dan Orlovski's proclamation here about Anthony Richardson. Do you agree with it? Do you think AR is set to take over the league? Do you think he's underrated like Orlovski thinks he is? Or do you think like maybe we just got to pump the brakes a little bit on AR and see where we go from there? Let us know all those things in the comments down below. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff so you are in the loop when we drop fresh content. Like we said at the beginning, guys, training camp is getting closer. We are around a month away or so from training camp. I don't believe the dates have been released quite yet, Derek. So when those do get released, we will definitely be updating you guys because we're definitely going to be out there for a couple of the media sessions. And maybe we'll just go out as fans. We'll see. But guys, let us know your thoughts on this topic when it comes to Anthony Richardson. That'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much. And as always, go Colts.